This is the Jazz Violin Podcast, episode 69, and today I'm chatting about how we think when we play. This is a subject that's quite difficult to put into words, but I'm going to try anyway. I was asked on my recent Django on the Island camp, which is basically a camp for violinists and guitarists to meet every year and learn on the lovely garlic farm on the Isle of Wight. More about that in the description of this video if you're interested. But anyway, somebody asked me when we were there about, well, first of all, I think it was a very specific question they asked me about chord substitution and the best way to visualize these chord substitutions in your head when you're playing a gig. And whilst I did have a decent solution for that specific practical piece of advice, the main thing that I really wanted to get across after that was we're basically supposed to not really think when we play. So on the gig, we want to try and make it so we don't have to think at all, really. Obviously, we're going to have to think a little bit, but when we're playing this music, we want to be as open and as relaxed and as chilled as possible. And thinking is not the best way to come out with nice music, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that I don't want you to think when we are learning to play jazz. What I'm saying is when we're playing the gig, we want to not be thinking. When we do want to be thinking is in the practice room. We want to get all of our technical stuff, our thinky stuff out of the way and done in the practice room. We want to make sure that we don't have to think when we're on the gig. And it's funny because people will see jazz musicians on a gig and they'll think, how are they coming up with all this stuff on the spot? How are they being able to make all these chord substitutions as they go? And basically, we're not thinking about that stuff very much at all. And if we are, we're just utilizing something that we've thought a lot about and practiced a lot in the practice room in the past. It might be a case of us having practiced it loads and loads of times and it never having come out, but then it happens to come out in these choice occasions once in a while, and that is what we are aiming for. We're not aiming to be able to think really quickly when we are playing. Obviously, a byproduct of practicing and thinking about our improv and all of this stuff, it will be that we can think quicker when we're playing. However, that's not the main goal. We want to be able to just play and not think about it at all. If you're interested in having your questions answered on this podcast and my videos and my YouTube channel, please get in touch. You can send me an email via the description of this podcast, but most of the time I am answering questions from my Patreon people. However, it's always worth sending a question in anyhow. Happy practicing.